People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, the Europa League squad is to be officially announced today, and until it's officially announced, you can't draw any conclusions, but everyone from John Cross to The Athletic to any sort of journalist or working in the journalistic space has spoken in relation to Arsenal's Europa League squad. Now, I'm keen to see if Saliba will be registered, because I think he has to be registered as a senior player. Mesut Ozil and Sokratis are due to be omitted from the list and not included. That's also in addition to what you hear allegedly with the Premier League list. And it's the latest in what's been a confusing time. Like, if you told me when we signed Mesut Ozil in 2013 that in 2020 he'd be on 350 a week, he would not be involved in the FA Cup final, he wouldn't be involved in any match days, he stands the prospect of not even being registered in games, I would look at you a bit funny. Now, this is the latest twist. I think Arteta wants to use him, to be fair with you. I think Arteta likes him. I think, Arteta, it doesn't make sense when you see Arteta saying everybody's training well, making it difficult, but he's not involved in any capacity, even in cup competitions. This tells me this is a board decision. We all know it's Arsenal versus Ozil. When you're seeing the charity thing, on one hand, listen, don't misquote me. I think it's fantastic that he's offered to pay for Gunnersaurus's wages and help a man pay for his, pay his bills. I rate that. But if we're honest, that's the latest bit in friction. We've had that, we've had wages, we've had several things, and the club want to get my man out. They're clearly forcing him to come to sort of pre-termination agreement for whatever reason. Clearly, this is they're trying to put this to him. They're really trying to make it that in 2.5 months' time, the first week of January he busts out, because he stands the prospect of playing in no football this season. Literally no football. And that's never good for any pro. You can train as much as you want, and he seems well-knit part of the bunch. He's spudding Arteta and things. This makes me personally believe it's one that's over Arteta's head and one Arteta's being pressed in. Now, to a degree, I don't think Arteta is one to be bullied by people above him. He'll do things his way, but there's got to have been something, Ozil's up there for created chances. It seemed that Ozil and Arteta would come to an understanding. The way Arteta was speaking about Ozil prior to the restart, when he's saying, he's a quality player, there's always a space in my team, to these vague statements, something might have changed. Something might have changed with Ozil, with the wage cuts. He might have done something, or it's above head, because something must have happened during the break and after the restart. Something must have happened, but it is what it is, If it's for footballing purposes, for the Europa League, I find that hard to believe, because it's nice for the young players. It's one more spot for young players to get game time. But I would have thought El Nene, Ozil, potentially Kolasinac, Mustafi, if registered, these are the sort of man you're looking at to get minutes in those competitions and kind of lead the young ones in the group stages. But if you're Emil Smith-Rowe, if you're Nelson, if you're Joe, if you're these sort of players, you're licking your lips, Carl. There's one more spot to go around for you lot in that. Sokratis can have no complaints. Clearly not. He's not a bad defender. I do think defenders like Sokratis in today's day and age, not the individual, but how he defends, are sort of slept on, because it's almost like if you're not the best ball player, you can't be a good defender. And I get it, modern day game requires a lot, but I do think it's gone a bit gobbledygook. He's probably the most old school sort of defender in the team. That being said, the form hasn't been good enough. He hasn't quite grabbed his chances in terms of playing out from the back. He's probably the worst at that in the squad, and it's an issue. So he stands the prospect of playing no football, and Sokratis only has himself to blame. Previously he spoke of wanting to leave if he can't play. When Arteta came in, the language changed. Has the language changed because he buys into Arteta and he wants to somehow prove to Arteta his worth? That could be one. Could it be in a COVID market, the 32-year-old realised that, I'm contracted until 2021. I'm on 95k a week. I'm not getting that elsewhere at 31, 32 years of age. Let me get this cake and then keep it moving elsewhere. No one's trying to match my wages in this market. Again, that might not have been it. He might have been saying, yo, I want to leave, I'll take a wage cut, but nobody was really interested. We heard a lot of teams. We even heard PSG for free on loan. So I don't know what's happened, but there can be no complaints. It was the writing on the wall. Just for me, it's the further storyline with Mesut Ozil and Arsenal, and it's a shame because he's been a good player for us. Let's not have agendas. He might not have hit expectations, but if we're honest, the team wasn't built around him, and there's several other things. He's been a great player for us and had some good moments, and it's just a sour ending. And for me, away from whether I like Ozil or side with the club, which I do, or whatever, because I don't think Ozil should be a main part of the team for what it's worth. It's just unnecessary drama, it's unnecessary questions. And, when Ozil does retire or keep it moving from Arsenal, or board members leave, when the details come out, similar to what, you're hoping Wenger's book, when he frees up the things about Arsenal, you're hoping Ozil's got some juicy gossip, because this is the latest, confusion for fans. whether you rate Ozil or not, or you just want him, you know, you don't want him to play, that's cool. But I'm sure whether you like Ozil or not, you're just baffled at this now. Like, it's just not making any sense. And I do think not that the fans are owed anything, but I do think the club, Mesut Ozil and everybody, they owe it to the fans to just tell us what's what now. Just tell us Ozil's not part of the plans, you know. He's free to leave in January, and it is what it is. He's just doing up media duties and Twitter fingers on Twitter. You know, I do think the fans are strung along, and it is quite frustrating when we've had, I won't go as far as to say a decent window, but euphoria of bringing in Gabriel and Partey, an effort to fixing the spine of this team. Yeah, when you've got Arteta shown that he will make mistakes, but shown we can believe in him. Obviously, we're still on a bit of a high from the Community Shield and the FA Cup. Obviously, adding to that cocktail, Bukayo Saka and Aubameyang signing new deals, it somewhat creates a good environment for us to move forward. But we've still got this cloud of Mesut Ozil hanging over our heads or on our shoulders and whatnot, and it's quite jarring for me. You know, Sokratis, I felt Sokratis was going to be a misfit anyways. We've got enough defenders. I don't think Arteta counts on you. He's only using you if bodies drop in our defence. So we'll have to see what happens, but it's the latest twist, man. So we'll have to see, man. It is what it is. Again, there's talk of him being left out, both of them, Sokratis and Ozil being left out of the Premier League squad. Until I see official confirmation, I can't confirm that. By the time this video comes out, people, there'll probably be official confirmation of either they're in the they're in the Europa League matchday squads, or they're not. So again, it's all factual. It's not factual yet. Apologies. It's all rumours and whatnot. So by the end of the day, we'll see official confirmation, and I want to see how Arteta swerves those questions when he's inevitably asked about these sort of things, especially if he's not registered in the Premier League. But we'll see what happens, people. On that note, though, I'm going to keep it moving. It's always a pleasure. People, DG, I'm out.